This is The Naked Patient, Beyond the Operating Room. Listen as Dr. Nicholas Howland talks with real patients about their real experiences with plastic surgery.
Hello and welcome to the Naked Patient Podcast. I'm Dr. Nicholas Howland. With me today is Madi Mckinnon.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Maddie? Thanks for coming today.
So good. Thank you for having me. I've been so excited.
You have been, I think I just released my 15th episode. And so that's 15 weeks. You were one of the very first people I called and said, I'm doing a podcast. I want you on it. You're one of my favorite patients of all time.
I'm honored.
And it took a minute.
It did. I've been a busy girl.
I know.
It's been working and travel and just nonstop, but we're calm now-ish.
Tell me how we first met. You have been instrumental in my practice and where my practice has led me to. I don't think you realize this.
You can't make me cry this fast, Nick. You can't do it.
We're going to get into this. But you've been very instrumental in my practice and where it's gone. So kind of start from the beginning. Where did you come across me? How did we first meet? I would love to hear that side of your story.
Yeah. So I actually was thinking about that on my drive down. I was like, it wasn't at the office. Where did I meet Nick? And it was, you had come. So I was working at Rocky Mountain Associated Physicians. I'm sure we'll get into it, but I had weight loss surgery there. Ended up working for my surgeon as a medical assistant. I was working there and you came through and did a presentation at one of the support groups just because, plastic surgery goes along with weight loss. So, and a lot of patients ask about it. So they had reached out to you to come in, do a little get to know you. Hey, here's plastic surgery stuff, and so I met you there briefly, during that, but I was like, he's a nice guy. He seems pretty cool. And at that point I was starting to think about okay, I'm kind of reaching where I'm at, time to look into skin removal. And I met with a few other surgeons, I think 2 or 3 first, and it just kept coming back in my brain. I'm like, no, I want to see Dr. Howland. He came to the office. He was really nice.
How much weight did you lose?
I lost at my max is 270.
You lost 270
Lost 270. Yeah. I fluctuated. I got about a 15-pound fluctuation up and down, but yeah. And
you had a gastric bypass or
I had the duodenal switch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's tell people kind of what that is a little bit.
So that one, the duodenal switch, you'll hear people get the sleeve. So they do the sleeve to your stomach. So kind of a little kidney bean shaped, make it a little smaller. And then they also kind of reroute my small intestine. So I have a shorter common channel where I'm digesting and absorbing food. It's one of the more, I'll say, aggressive weight loss surgeries. In talking to Dr. McKinley about it, I'm 21, 22 at the time, 435 pounds. And I'm going to die. I need long-term, I not only need this off quickly, but I need it to stay, and it has a really good success rate of maintaining weight loss, through the years. So, cause it's I got a lot of life ahead of me. So It's got to hold up. So that's the one we went with cause it was going to be a little bit more successful. And it went beautifully.
Okay. So I know we were talking about meeting me, but I want to jump into that a little bit. So you were 20 years old and over 400 pounds.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of people that listen and say, how the fuck does that happen?
How in the hell? Yeah. So I was a big kid, just always people drop the baby weight at 6, 7 years old and I just never did. And I kept I don't think I initially ever had a bad relationship with food, but once I realized I was different, because as a kid, you're having fun. I was I think I might be bigger, but it never struck me until, it was 2nd grade. I was walking through the hallway, coming through from recess, and some kid in a leather jacket, don't remember his face, but he pushed me out and he goes, "Move, fat girl." And I was like, oh, because I didn't get bullied a lot, which I'm very, very lucky. But that was one moment I was like, wait, oh my God, I'm the fat girl. I am. And so it kind of shifted that, made me a little aware of it. So I just kept, going through life, getting older, getting bigger, knowing very acutely I am different. Yeah. And I think I started dieting, age 12.
How did that affect you through junior high and high school? I cannot imagine the cruelty that you had to go through.
Yeah, it was, I think a lot of the cruelty, like I said, I don't know if I just ignored it and never picked up on it, but people weren't too, directly mean to me. Now that I'm on the other side, I see it was a lot more, I was just invisible. I was just ignored. The cruelty really came from me. I am not My brain is not a kind place, and it was really bad back then. But junior high, high school, I kind of took the fat person route of like, I'm going to be loud and friendly, and I know I'm fat. You know I'm fat. Like, let's get that out of the way. I know it. Like, I made people so uncomfortable. I made fat jokes all the time. Like, my family would go hiking. I'm like, why aren't you inviting me? Is it because I'm fat? You think I'll die? Think I can't do it? And they just looked at me. I'm like, no, literally, I will. That's okay. Have fun. Like, I'll see you when you're back. But I took that route. I was in student body office. I was vice president my senior year. Like,
so you were like successful as far like from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah. No, I was doing great. The weight was a nice buffer.
I love what you said too, that nobody was harder on me than myself, because that is so true for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And so oftentimes, like we look at how cruel it must be to be bullied, or how tough it must be to be bullied, when we're all usually our biggest bullies. Oh,
for sure. And no one can say something to you that you haven't already.
Oh yeah.
Thought.
I was teased for being. You know what I was teased for in junior high school? It was really stupid.
What?
I was teased for being the rich kid.
It's the most nonsense.
See, here's the thing. You would say, okay, like, wow, first world problems. I sobbed. I lost friends. I was like treated poorly. My dad, and again, people are going to listen to this and be like, oh, wow, Nick had it real hard. But
it hurts.
For you, whatever it is, it hurts, and it's a big deal. I mean, my dad, who I love, bought every one of his kids a brand new car when they were 16, because he had the ability to, and that was how he expressed his love for his children, and that's what he did. That for me was like one of the hardest things to have in high school. Like, I would come out, my car would be keyed by kids who were angry or jealous. People didn't want to hang out with me because I was, again, like, I was a rich kid, and I was like, I'm trying to be like a nice person to people. Why are they not liking me? And it was hard. It was such a stupid thing to be.
Kids are so dumb.
Yeah, but it's such a stupid thing to like, and I just ridiculed myself for it.
When it's not, especially with that one, it's not even you.
Yeah.
You're not even making your own money. Like, you just are born into different circumstances.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
But I love that you at least found a way to cope with it on your own, where you're like, oh, I'm just going to go this way with it.
Yeah. Like, it was easier. It was like, everyone's going to expect me to be a sad little depressed, like, yeah, I'm fat. And it's like, yeah, that's in my head, but whatever. Like, I can just go be myself. I've finally, lots of therapy, gotten to the place I understand why I did that. And the fat was a really good, like, shield almost, or like a quick, I already know what you think about me right out of the gate. You've already formed an opinion about me right away. And I know what that opinion is because it's a very publicly held one. It's reinforced everywhere. I know what you think about me just looking at me. So what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
To like offend you further? I don't care. I'm going to be me now.
Yeah.
And just like, I already know what you think. So I'm going to be me. And if you don't like that, great. And if you do like it, I know you like me for me.
Yeah. And you're such a good example of so one of my biggest pet peeves working with a lot of weight loss patients is people who criticize my overweight patients and say, well, if they would just get to the gym, I mean, just diet some more. That is such a nonsensical, not misunderstanding of how the human body works.
Well, it's like, you think we haven't tried?
Yeah. And then for some people, obesity is just, it's in the genes and it's in their metabolism. And it's not, like I've said on this podcast multiple times, some of the healthiest, hardest working people I know are 300 pounds. They're at the gym every day. They're eating a calorie restricted diet, and their body just doesn't respond. They don't have the metabolism. It's a hormone issue, or it's a thyroid issue, or it's a pituitary. I mean, there's something else there. And that's why we need bariatric surgeons. That's why we need some of this stuff.
We need an answer. We need help.
The diet and the gym just doesn't work for every single person.
No, if it did, nobody would be obese for that long. No. Like I said, I've been dieting since I was 12. I did that freaking, the HCG injections on myself at 14. Like I did it all. And yeah, it was very genetic for me, for sure. And metabolic. I never had, I don't think, thyroid and all that, but my metabolism just was fucked. It never existed.
What then? Okay, so you coped with it. You did fine. You're student body president. You've got at least I don't know if it's the healthiest coping mechanism, but sure,
but coping.
Laughing with it. What then triggered that moment where you're like, I'm gonna die, so I've got to do something?
I started. Oh, I probably was at my heavy. So 435 is my heaviest recorded. I think I was a little bit bigger when it kind of hit me that I should change. And it was like the fall of 2016. I was working at the Salt Lake Clinic downtown, and I could not walk across the parking lot. It hurt so bad. My legs, I just was just weak, and everything hurt. And my legs they'd been swelling for a long time. And they were getting really swollen. I had the pitting edema, so I could poke my finger into my first knuckle and it'd stay for a long time. My legs were swollen. And my primary care doctor started checking me for heart failure. And we had to do that every couple months because it just wouldn't go away and I was not doing well. And so that, when he said we're checking for heart failure, I think that I was like, okay. I already know I'm pre-diabetic and whatever. I kind of was, it goes along with it. It's okay. It's in the genes, but that kind of hit me. Yeah. It's okay, I should change. And he's like, have you ever thought about bariatric surgery? And literally, I had forgotten that it existed. It just never had crossed my mind. So he asked me, I'm like, what? No, I probably should though. So I went home, checked my insurance plan. And at the time, the insurance I had it, they covered it at 90%, waived the deductible. It was, and I'm beginning to not big into, but I believe in science. And I'm like, okay, my insurance covers this surgery that many do not, which is horrific. Yeah. But it covers it. Not only it's accepted and covered, but it really covers it. I can do this feasibly. So I looked into that in the fall. I think I went to the little introductory meeting at RMAP, in September, and I had surgery in April. Once I made my mind up, it was done and we were doing it.
How long after did you start working for Rocky Mountain? So this is the group of bariatric surgeons through St. Mark's. And is there 4 surgeons in that group? There's
4 now. Yeah. They added a new guy.
Okay.
Yep. They're all great. But I started my 1-year post-op. I went in there and his MA was pregnant and had just life stuff going on. She was leaving anyway, and she left a little earlier than planned. And so he's like, hey, I know you're a medical assistant. You maybe want to come over here? It's you know what? Let me think on that. And I was like, I don't know, just the chance to, for one, learn more about these surgeries and stuff. RMAP, Dr. McKinley and Dr. Simper, I think especially, they do a lot of traveling. They would teach these procedures and stuff. So they're right on the forefront of new research and just everything coming out. And I was like, I get to learn. And then I also can support my patients in a way. I was working at an ENT clinic at the time, and I was like, I feel for you. You have a sinus infection. Sorry, I can't relate. I don't get sick off it. Sorry. But I'm like, oh my God, I could actually really relate to my patients in a completely different way. So yeah, it was my 1-year post-op, and then I took the position and worked there for, I think, a couple years.
Yeah.
But loved it. That was so cool. So
then I came in and did a lecture. I still give that lecture about once a year. And it's just to talk to the weight loss patients about their options for plastic surgery. Because there are things that, listen, when you lose 100+ pounds, especially after having a bariatric procedure, your skin often doesn't shrink with you. And so you end up with lots of loose folds of extra skin, which can cause rashes and irritation, and you're tucking skin folds in elsewhere, and you've lost all this weight, but now you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do with all this skin? Mm-hmm. And so how long after that did we actually kind of meet to talk about surgery?
So that was, I'm trying to think. So we had surgery. I think you and I met, I want to say the end of 2018. So I had surgery April 2017. Mm-hmm. And I think I met with you at the end of 2018, maybe beginning of 2019. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'd lost the weight, stabilized. And yeah, I was living in spandex everywhere. I make a joke. It's I would go for a run and like give myself a round of applause if I didn't have it, because my stomach's just like slapping away. And it fucks with your mind, because you're like, I lost all this weight, but like, I don't want to be naked. I don't want to, like, I don't look good in the things I want to wear, really.
Well, so they're like, in the medical community, the term for like that extra skin around your stomach, the medical term is a pannus, but people will call it the skin apron. Yeah. Which is like the worst.
They're not cute names.
No.
Like, they don't make you feel cute.
No, but it describes it, right? You literally have an apron of skin over your waist. Yeah. And that goes with you. So you and I met, and we had a consultation, and I remember this story in my way, but I want to hear how you remember this story. So part of my background and training in Houston was working with a lot of weight loss patients. So my mentor, Dr. Linda Phillips, at least when I was in training, in my opinion, is probably one of the top 2 or 3 body contouring surgeons in the world at the time. And that's all we did. I mean, if you're working with Dr. Phillips, like every day, it's either another breast reduction, paniculectomy, Fleur-De-Lis, arm lift, thigh lift, something else for weight loss.
Yeah, just all of it.
And I actually came into practice thinking, oh my God, if I never see another weight loss patient in my life, you'll die happy. I learned this. Yeah. But what's funny is then when you start practicing, you start seeing patients who you're like, oh, I've done this before. I've done this before. I understand this. And that becomes kind of your niche. So weight loss, like body contouring after weight loss, has actually become a huge niche in my practice. That's half of what I do now at this point.
Is it? That's awesome.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting down with you, and we kind of looked at everything, and I told you what I tell all of my weight loss patients, which is you're a very special patient. Your body responds differently. Your metabolism is now different. The way you heal wounds is different. You're a higher risk patient, and it ain't going to be one surgery. And insurance is probably not going to cover any of it. Sometimes they'll cover the skin removal on the tummy, but that is about it. And these are long cases, and that's a lot of money just to pay anesthesiologists, to pay nurses to be there, to pay for supplies, let alone my time. Yeah. And so I think what I remember is we kind of came in and said, here's a quote. And I can't remember if this was the first surgery or the second surgery, but I remember one of the surgeries you were like, I can't do that. Yeah. And then later you had a phone call from somebody. Yeah. And you were able to.
Yeah. So with all of them, because we knew it'd be a couple of them. And the first surgery we did, it was the belt lipectomy, the arm lift, and the breast lift. And looking at that quote, I was like, there is no way in hell I can figure this out. Because, I mean, all the medical loans that are available are very high interest, and you have to pay them back quickly. Like they're 12-month things. And I'm like, I can't do this.
So just to give people an idea, because I have no shame in talking real numbers. Here in Utah, most plastic surgeons in Utah are pretty comparable in what they offer as far as pricing goes. So to do that surgery, a belt lipectomy with a breast lift and an arm lift, that's about a 7-hour case. Depending on the surgeon you go to, where they're operating, that's anywhere between $17,000 and $30,000.
Yeah, I think mine ended up being about, like, one was 15 and then 16 or 17 or something, about 30 total. And yeah, I'm just like a little young working at a clinic. Like, I just couldn't do it. And my little sisters ended up starting a GoFundMe for me, which was really sweet. God. I have 3 little sisters. They're my world, and I love them. Shout out, girls. You're the best. But they started a GoFundMe, which was like more successful than I ever could have hoped. I was embarrassed. I do not like asking for help. I like helping. I want to be the helper. I want to do it. And then forget about me. I'll take care of it myself. And they did that for me. I think that raised about $5,000, I want to say. And I was like, that's great. But oh my God, I have so far to go. And I got a call from a family member who said, hey, I have the ability to help, and I'm going to help you. And you're going to get all of the money. You're going to get the surgeries back to back. You're not going to wait. We're not going to leave you halfway done. Wait years in between. You are going to get these done, and we're going to do it. And I think I called you like the next day and I scheduled. That was life-changing. I know how fortunate I am and how lucky I am. And I can't ever repay that family member enough for what they've done. But that gave me the ability to have those surgeries, and we did do them pretty quick. I think it was August and then November.
Oh yeah, we went as quick as we could, and
yeah, got them done. But yeah, that was I saw the numbers. I was like, no way. And family, friends, everyone pulled through, and we got it done. That was crazy.
And you never had any complications. We've had one big Corey Moore, who I love Corey as well. We came on here and we talked about some of her complications that she had, because again, with these weight loss surgeries, it is almost the norm to have some small wound opening or some small complication, because your body is so different. Oh yeah. You're just pretty lucky all around.
I really have been. And I feel like weirdly guilty about it. I just feel lucky, and I'm kind of like, okay, I got to turn that guilt and just do what I can do to help other people. Because man, I had not one complication. I think I had a stitch that like got not even infected. It just was trying to pop out. And that was, I think, the worst that ever happened. Those surgeries went so smooth. I think the only, not even a thing, but I know weight loss, we drain a lot more. Like we have a lot more fluid loss. So I had the drains in for a lot longer, I think, than typical, especially the thigh ones. Those were a doozy. But
Corey would agree with you on that.
Yeah. I videoed those getting removed because I was so stoked on it. And also I was like, posterity, this sucks. But no, the surgeries were so smooth.
Good.
Like the worst part about them, honestly, was trying to wake up, because that is long.
Not everybody has those problems. I need to point that out for her.
Yeah. Sorry, Corey.
So we knocked these surgeries out. You did fabulous. You recovered fabulous. And almost overnight, you became this like billboard for me, which thank you for that.
Oh, of course.
But I don't think there's a patient that has come over to me from Rocky Mountain that hasn't said, I'm here because of Madi. And sorry.
See,
and you have been the best billboard for me, because it hasn't been a look at my results, go get this. It's been this is why I love Dr. Howland, and people love you, and that's why. It hasn't been give me Madi's results, it's been give me Madi's surgeon, which means more to me than any results possibly could.
You're a good one. I send everybody, I have 3 or 4 friends I think that are on for consults here in the next few months. I sent my sister to you, Nick. Like that. Anyone who's had surgery, medical issues, like we've had bad doctors, we've had bad surgeons, we've all done it. And to be able to send my little baby, like I sent her, no question, she was looking at a breast reduction, and she met with other surgeons, and I was like, just please meet with Nick, please. She's like, okay. And she walked in, she's like, okay, yep, you were right. Like you're my friend. Like, yeah. I met you in the office. I'm like, oh, we're going to be homies. Like, I feel so good about this. And so, yeah, I will tell anyone, like, you want someone who cares about you very genuinely too, because you can tell the customer service, the patient care facade, and you can tell when there's heart behind it.
Yeah. I feel truly blessed because I love my career. I love it because I love to operate. I love the lifestyle that it provides, because it does provide me a very good lifestyle. But mostly I love the connection that it provides me with people. Like, to be able to help people feel better about themselves. Come on.
What more? That's the coolest thing, to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Piece of the journey.
Yeah. There's nothing more in this life that I could ever want for myself than to help other people feel better about themselves.
And we feel it. And that's why I send everyone, because we feel it, and they do. And that's huge. That means a lot.
Where do I want to go with you next, Maddie? So besides your surgery, like it's probably pretty apparent just from sitting here and listening to you, Maddie, Maddie's one of the most high energy, cool, like genuinely cool people that you've ever met. She's always got a different hair color. But she also, God, you love life.
Yeah, I try to. It's
one of my favorite things about you. Like you are outside, you're hiking, you're skiing, you're snowboarding, you're just trying new things, and seeing you kind of like literally come out of the shell, like this 400-pound shell to tackle life has been beautiful.
Oh, I do everything now because I'm like, I can do the things and I want to do all of them. And I'm just amazed constantly at what my body's actually capable of. Cause I mean, growing up, like I was a black sheep. My family was active. My family is active. Like I was a sister.
You don't want me to come hiking with you?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, come on, you know what? Life flight halfway through would be fun, guys. Like they're very fit family. And that was hard to watch them go do all these things. So we have a timeshare up at Snowbird at the Iron Blossom, week 32 every year. And I was nearly born up there. My whole dad's family is up there it's a really special time. We all love Snowbird. Mm-hmm. And my family over recent years started hiking to the top of the tram every year, which is a grueling monster hike. Cause it's 3,000 feet of elevation and like just under 3 miles, and it's steep and it's hard.
Yeah.
And I watched them do that forever. And I'm like, God, I wish I could get up there. Because the year before surgery, that August, right before, I never even left the Iron Blossom. I couldn't walk to the center. I never got to the top of the tram, even going up it. I couldn't physically do it. Mm-hmm. So I watched them hike that forever. And it wasn't the year I had surgery. It was the next year. So I was closer to losing all that I have lost. And we hiked to the top of the tram. And that is one of the most meaningful experiences of my life. My whole family went. I had aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. And we got up there. And that last bit, we took the ridgeline, circ. And I'm sure you've done it. And circ, like that last little push is so hard. You have given everything. You've left it all on the mountain. There's nothing left. And you can see the summit. And it's still so far away. And it's still so steep. And my dad just held my hand. I had my mom linked in my arm, and they essentially kind of pulled me up that last little bit. But getting to the top, I just collapsed and just sobbed, because that was a huge moment of like, I'm leaving that behind. I'm moving forward. I'm going to do the things that make me happy that I've always wanted to do, and I can do them. And it was a lot of confidence, and it was just special. So I do that hike every single year now, at least once, I can now. I beat it and I can do it, and I will keep doing it.
I'm so glad you shared that.
Yeah, I forget about that, and also not. It's always on my mind, but I forget the impact of that one.
There's a hike just past that I've tried twice and have turned around.
Was it Twin Peaks?
Uh-huh.
That you gotta have like bouldering equipment.
So Twin Peaks is the highest point in Salt Lake County.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And I've done almost every high point in every county in Utah. There's 3 I haven't done.
I remember you doing that. That was when we were doing all that. Yeah.
One of them is Salt Lake County, and to get there, you can hike, and you can do the hike that you did to get to where the top of the tram is, or you can just take the tram up.
Right. I think I would if I was doing Twin Peaks.
And then that's the start of the hike, and it's a short hike. It's only about a 3-mile round trip hike, but the first mile of it is over what's called the knife edge, and it's like a 1.5 2 foot wide ridge with like hundreds of feet drop on either side, and you're walking over like bolts for people to rope into rock climbing on their side of it. And I've had some friends that have done it and they've survived and been okay. But both times I've gone, I get a third of the way there. I get scared. I get vertigo, and I have to turn around. I
don't blame you on that one.
Yeah.
It's a mountain to conquer at some point. I want to, for sure. But
one day
I think I need to go with like a guide and all the ropes. And
exactly. That's what I want. I want somebody who will just take me up there, put a harness in me, because I don't have that knowledge. I'm not a rock climber.
No. Same.
But somebody like who can say, here, look, we're gonna rope you in. You'll be fine. If you fall, you'll be fine. Then I would be comfortable. I'm gonna find that.
Yeah. We'll find a guide. We'll go to Turkey.
It's got to exist. We're in Utah.
I am positive they do. It's outdoors. It exists. That's just it.
So talk to me, though. You came in earlier, and I'm trying to remember what you said. You said something about still struggling mentally.
Oh, yeah. I was like, man, I didn't have Corey's experience with the infections, but like my brain fell apart. Like I don't have the physical stuff, but no, I mean, just weight loss alone is a mind fuck. Mm-hmm. Like you have completely changed how you look, how you perceive yourself, how the world perceives you. So you're not only dealing with that, and then plastics changes everything again. Like I never quite let myself settle in between things. And so I went through this, am going through this, like it's just complete identity crisis. I mean, I was the funny fat girl. That was me. Like, that was my token. That's who I was. Like, I made the jokes. I made it, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're so fun, even though you're fat." And I'm like, "Yes,
you
I know."
Fat jokes now doesn't go over very well.
Oh no, it doesn't. So I lose that. I'm like, man, like I've lost my little thing there. Like, yeah, I'm active and stuff now, but like that's taken time, and it still is taking time for me to find what my hobbies are and stuff, because I didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. So I lost who I was there. But yeah, so like just identity crisis one after another. You read all the studies bariatric surgery causes. Like there's some crazy suicide rates, there's divorce rates, there's all this associated with bariatric surgery, with plastic surgery, and with like leaving a church. So I've left the Mormon church during all of this too, just to sprinkle some added fun onto my life.
I don't think I even knew that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had those, and then a complete career shift. Mm-hmm. Like, so I just piled it all on, and now I'm kind of sitting here more on the other side going, oh my God, who am I? Like, who am I? What am I doing here? Like, it's hard. So the mental struggle has been real. The depression's been hard. Do you think you're going to lose weight and then you'll feel good? No. Then you get the skin removed and then you're going to feel good. Then you're going to love yourself. And okay, you are, changing your kind of core beliefs. Okay, then you're going to be happy. And it's like, no, none of that has made me happy and made me love myself.
Yeah.
Like I knew that, like my logic part of me knew that going into all this. I'm like, this isn't the fix all. You're still going to have hard days and whatever, but none of that's brain surgery. None of that's fixing like all the things, all those programs, that our brains run, that are built over years and years of self-abuse and just going through this world. And that struggle has been hard. The biggest thing for me is I don't know how people feel about me. I don't know what's genuine and what's not anymore. Because before, like I said, it's like, I know I'm fat, I'm fat, moving on. Like, we're good. I know what you think about me on that. And I know you like me for me now, Now I've lost that. I'm more on like just the average scale. And I'm like, oh, shit. I feel very raw and exposed all the time. Yeah. Like when I meet people, I'm like, are you talking to me because you actually think I'm cool? Or are you like trying to hit on me? Are you like, because I can't tell. That's the thing, is I can't tell if that's happening or not. I never dated. I got married. That was the first person I'd ever dated.
Yeah.
And so going through all this, we are getting divorced. Love him. It's good terms. We're friends. It just, you change so much that you kind of just need to step back and kind of evaluate who I am on my own. And so I'm in this world where like people have been hitting on me and I don't know. And then, we go on a date or something and then they never talk to me again. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like they just wanted, like it's, I used to think it'd be fun to be objectified.
Okay.
Like that's what's hitting me now is like, that happens sometimes. And I'm not like Brian, like, oh, I'm so hot, but like, you know, it's being a woman, like that just kind of happens. And that's happened. And I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. Get away from me. If you don't want to talk and know who I am and care about me and like, let me care about you. I want to know your story. Like,
Yeah.
I hate it.
What a unique position to be in where you wanted that for so long. And then to realize, oh, that sucks.
It completely devalues you as a person. And it's like, I was so much more confident in who I am and who I was. Like I could tell you for a fact back then, like I am funny. I am quick-witted, all that. And now I'm like, I don't fucking know. Dang. Am I a potato to talk to? I don't know. Because like, you get these mixed messages. I used to get so mad at like the hot girls. I'm like, shut up. Stop whining about people like yelling at you or catcalling or giving you compliments. But I get it.
You're
it's
still
annoying.
all those things. You just don't have that crutch that was, forcing you to believe those things anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, I have experienced a lot of those same feelings myself. I went through, I still struggle with depression. And I know that for me, and I've talked about this before on this podcast, it doesn't go away. You don't suddenly go to some therapy, love yourself, and it's fixed. It's always there. You always deal with it. It's just how you're going to cope with it, how you're going to, and whether you're going to continue to love yourself and make the decision that being here is worth it.
Yeah, it is. Like you said, it's daily. It doesn't go away. It is. And, it ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's pretty decent. You don't think about it for a few weeks. And sometimes it is deep and it's rough.
Yeah.
This year's been, I think I've never been more depressed than like this year when I'm like on kind of the other side. I should be really feeling good. And it doesn't matter until you do the work.
Yeah. No, look at all
internally.
And look at all these changes.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
But you have literally had to kill that person you were in order to get to who you are now. Yeah.
Yeah. She had to go. I've had to make peace with her. That's been a big thing. I had that first after losing it and kind of still during the process of just a lot of hate, and it's self-hate, but it's a little different because I hated her so much. Like, how were you so lazy? How did you could have worked harder? Like how I hated the person she was and I had to, it took a lot of therapy and, my partner, at the time he was incredibly supportive and helped. And he had me look at a picture, like an older picture once. And he's like, you need to thank her. Like she got you here. She made the decision to have surgery. She did the hard work.
Yeah. Like
you don't get to sit and be mad and hate her and hate yourself like that. You can thank her and you let her go and that's okay, but you can't. She just needed love.
Yeah. Anybody that we blame for things, we also have to thank them. And I've had to do this with other people in my life, but it's interesting that you pointed out as yourself. Like if we're going to blame ourselves for stories or things that happen to us, so we make ourselves the victim, then we also have to thank that person for getting us to where we are now. And that's a hard thing to do.
It is very hard.
Yeah.
It is so hard. And yeah, you are who you are now because of past you.
Yeah.
Like that's who did it.
Yeah. Nick who made bad decisions. Nick who was not a great spouse and so got divorced. Nick who went through some bad relationships and was not a good boyfriend and put his kids through like bad breakups. I needed all those things.
Well, it got you to this Nick who is like so empowered. Like watching this journey you've been on through the last year or so has been so cool. And you couldn't have gotten there without past Nick. Like he was a little shit and that's okay. Because he's like Nick 3.0 now.
Well, it's a constant evolution. Like that's my pitch for my men's group that people ask, like, why are you part of this men's group? Because I want to be a part of men who want to be the best versions of themselves. Like, we should all be a part of some group that's making us the best versions of ourselves that we can be.
Oh, well, you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
In just the biggest. It's influential. I don't have a group, but like just my career, I massage therapy now, and it's a lot of people that do that. They want to be good versions of themselves. Like, we work with people very closely. You got to take care of yourself for that. So I'm just surrounded now with people who, encourage self-care and like will talk to you, and just, I don't know, it's great. It's really nice to be around people who share those similar goals and things that they're working on.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you more. Don't even. I'll win this battle.
We're going to wrap up here soon.
Okay.
But how would you, looking back on all of this, this is a big journey from, we kind of say, 2017, that's when I had my surgery, but your journey started before that.
Oh, yeah.
And so what has been the single biggest lesson or takeaway that you've had from all of this?
Ooh. I think the biggest thing is being present and grateful for the moment I'm in right now. I have a habit of grass is greener and always want to do the next thing. And I don't often pause to just exist and be happy where I'm at. And I think that's been my biggest thing, like, just because looking back, like, that Madison was never happy. I never did. And like, I could have been happy then. I can be happy now. Like, yes, I want to improve. I still, there's still more things I want to do. Like, but I can be happy now, and I can love who I am now. I'm not the person I want to be. I have a lot of work to do, but I can still love this version of Madison now. I don't have to go through this whole self-hate, like, thing, an old picture. I can love me now. And it's a lot of ongoing therapy and work, but that's my biggest, just being present and happy where I'm at right now.
That's really beautiful.
You are.
Can I climb that mountain with you next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, we're gonna, yes, please.
I'm in.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm excited.
Thanks for coming, Maddie.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you so much for listening to The Naked Patient Beyond the Operating Room. I'm Dr. Nicholas Howland. Please remember that every patient who appears on this podcast has consented to discuss their story and their surgery on the podcast. That way we remain HIPAA compliant. This is a free podcast. The best thing that you can do for us is to leave us a review online. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you'd like to hear. Let us know how we can improve. If you are curious about anything related to plastic surgery, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Dr. Nicholas Howland, and I typically respond there, or you can reach us at the office at 801-571-2020, or we have an online form you can fill out at the website, www.howlandplasticsurgery.com. Any of our coordinators would be happy to help you. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Naked Patient Podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode. Till next time.